Well, 24 years ago, my life was changed when I met Kim Phuc. Kim is a little girl that was napalm bombed near the end of the Vietnam War, became a poster child that God used in an amazing way to really bring the war to the attention of the world and to its end. And today I want to welcome Kim to the program. Kim, thank you for coming. So good to see you again.
Thank you for having me, Pastor.
As we were sharing just before this interview, we've laughed together and we've cried together, but your heart is to share an amazing story. You've written a book, it's called Fire Road. It's the latest book on your story, and it's a powerful journey. I want you, Kim, to take me back to that time in 1972, almost 50 years ago now, in another year. And what shaped you when the bombs dropped and suddenly your skin was falling off? It was a horrific story that began to unravel, wasn't it? As you had to deal with pain and forgiveness. Tell me about that.
Actually, I never forget that moment that happened to my life at 9 years old. And I remember that day we hiding in the temple, Cao Dai temple. Then as a children, we're not allowed to play as a normal day, but we just allowed to play nearby the bomb shelter. So after lunch, I remember we just keep playing, and then we heard the sound like burning outside of the house of the temple, and then the soldiers yelling for the children to run, and I was one of them.
And you went
So
running down the road. You went running down that road, and when they caught you, you said you were so hot, so hot. You didn't know your clothes had burnt off and your skin was falling off.
Right. And then we just run outside of the temple, and we just got into the highway 1. And I saw the fire. I saw the airplane just so fast and so close to us. Then I just stood right there. I didn't run. And I turned my head and I saw the airplane, then the 4 bombs landing down, and I heard the noise, boop, 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 boop. Then suddenly the fire was everywhere around me. And of course, my clothes just burned off by the fire. And then I saw my left arm with the fire, and then I used my right hand. I just took it off. And so I just wrap it up, and then, oh my goodness, I still remember my thought that, oh my goodness, I got burned and I will be ugly and people will see me a different way. Mm-hmm. Then I was so terrified, and I kept running and running out of the fire. And then I saw my brothers and my cousin and some soldiers around there. So we kept running and running for a while. Then I was so tired to run anymore.
Wow.
Then I stopped. Then I call out, Nam Wa, it means too hot. And one of the soldiers there, he gave me some water to drink, and then he tried to help me. He poured the water over my body. And
Wow.
that moment, I just lost my consciousness.
Kim,
I passed out.
Let's jump ahead in the story, because obviously there were months and years of recovery and pain, and you still deal with pain. But there was a time as you got a little older, as the communists were actually using you as a poster girl for their own exploits. You had to deal with deeper issues on an emotional level. You had to deal with your hatred and injustice. Talk to us briefly about that.
Right. As a child, being that little girl in the famous picture, and But for me, I have no idea about the famous picture, anything. Only one thing I have to deal with survivor, with the pain, with the nightmare, and all kind of. But I just try to fulfill my dream. I wanted to become a doctor. Then I got into medicine school in 1982. Then the Vietnamese government, they discovered me. I was still alive and I was that little girl in the picture. So uh, they started to using me for uh, filming, interviewing, all kind of propaganda. So they interfere my school, and eventually they cut short my study. And as a student, I lost my dream. I don't know what will go be in the future if I couldn't go to school. And then, that is, I became another kind of victim.
Wow.
Then I couldn't deal with the emotional pain. And because that the only one thing I have to do is my dream to become a doctor. But now I couldn't go to school. How can I do that? Then all kind of sadness, hopeless, bitterness, angry, and hatred, all is come up into my heart. I have to deal with that. It's much harder than when I suffer with the burn.
Wow.
When I was 9.
Well, let me ask you a question. You talked about losing your dream. You've actually talked about the anger, the frustration, the bitterness that was harder to deal with than actually the physical pain. And that's hard for me to understand. But many people listening today would feel a victim. They feel they struggle to forgive people who've done wrong to them, maybe sexual abuse, maybe some horrific crime. How did you learn to forgive? Talk to me about your journey of faith and meeting Jesus.
Okay, so in the middle of difficult, it's just really desperately, I couldn't deal with that physically and emotionally. And even I was raised in the Kaudai religion. They taught me to believe in everything. I worship to many gods, but unfortunately, no one answered my prayer. And then the bottom line in my heart at that time, I just seeking to the answer of my many questions. Why me? Why that happened to me? Why I have to suffer that much? And how can I deal with that? Who can help me? It seemed like no one. Then I just wanted to seeking the answer. Then I went to the library. Then I poured out all the religious books in that library in Saigon.
Okay.
Then, and one of them, I read the New Testament. Wow. And the more I read, the more question I had, because it's when I read in John 14:6, when Jesus say, I am the way, the truth, the life, no man can come to Father but by me. I say, what? I was so confused. I was raised in the Kaudai. They taught me there are so many gods, but why Jesus say that? What was true? And then that is the point, the beginning. I started to seeking what was true. And that long story but short. And then I try God, and then I just ask God, if you're real, please answer my prayer. If you exist, please help me. Because it seemed to me like nothing in this life. And I really didn't want it to live anymore. Then so God is real. God answered my prayer. because I'm seeking Him. I'm seeking Him with all my heart.
Kim, that's such a powerful story as you talk about your encounter with Jesus and his love. And I know that it continues to transform you. I've known you 24 years and the story hasn't changed. And I want to encourage people to buy at this Easter time a copy of your book, The Fire Road. You can go to Amazon.com or .ca and order it for yourself, order it for your friends. Kim, as always, you're such an encouragement. Thank you for being a part of our program today. And I want to wish you a happy Easter because I know that you know the joy of Jesus in your heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor.